go. Hi. Maybe.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
What's happening, y'all? I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
Hey, I'm here with Donald Duck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
That was my Donald Duck impression. Not great. Hi, this is Genesis or Genesisn't, where I play a Genesis game and then give the universe's definitive opinion on it. This week, we're going to take a look at Quackshot, starring Donald Duck, which we've done several Disney games because there is a shitload of Disney titles for the Genesis, and they have been kind of hit and miss a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of the best games that we've done have been Disney games, and some of the very worst games that we've done have been Disney games. So
you haven't even played Fantasia yet, so
I'm not gonna ask. We'll find out later, I suppose. But tonight's game is Quackshot, which I think that the Giant Bomb did a full playthrough of this. Dan Reichert did for a Encyclopedia Bombastica many years ago, and it seemed like a pretty good game. So I've seen most of this, although I have not actually played it.
Yeah, this is
Dash, shoot, and jump.
So the reason I picked this game for this evening was because I just posted a same name, different game about
one day. Donald came across an old book in Uncle Scrooge's study. The title of the book was King Garuzia's Great Duck Treasure. According to the book, Garuzia was once the leader of a great duck kingdom, a duckdom. Just before he died, King Garuzia had hid his most prized possession in a secret location. Tucked inside the book, Donald found a map showing clues to where the treasure could be found. Wow, Donald exclaimed. If I could find a treasure like this, I'd be richer than Uncle Scrooge. But one of Pete's gang had been spying through the window and saw everything. Donald took the map with him as he started to head home. I screwed that up. Pete's gang crashed after Donald and the treasure map. Donald could see an open manhole ahead and jumped over it, but Pete's gang all fell in. That's convenient. Donald, Deus Ex manhole cover, I guess. Donald took Huey, Dewey, and Louie to the plane and to take off on the great treasure hunt, but just then Daisy appeared. Donald, where are you going? You were supposed to be at my house for dinner an hour ago. Oh no, Daisy, something very important has come up. I'm going to find something special for you, and I want it to be a surprise. Donald, wait, come back. Donald! Donald? Donald! Donald! Leaving a furious Daisy behind. Moments later, Pete's gang flew. Man, there's a lot going on here.
There's a lot of story here.
Yeah. Okay, so what were you doing? You did a same name, different game?
Same name, different game about DuckTales, and there is no version of DuckTales for the Genesis, so this is kind of the closest we can get. This is Donald trying to get richer than Uncle Scrooge, which is the goal of DuckTales, is for Scrooge to just get richer than he already is.
Right.
So, you know.
Fucking billionaires, man.
Yeah, so
can I get rid of these guys, or I just plunge them and then they are stunned, I suppose?
They're stunned. Eventually, you get different upgrades to your plunger gun. But you know, for now, they just that stuns them. Eventually, I think eventually you get a plunger gun that will take them out. I think, if I remember correctly, it's actually
some SZA music and fucking make Donald twerk on this ladder. Anyway.
Yeah, so this is a game that I've always had a certain amount of fondness for. You know, it's.
What is he dropping on me? Oh, it's a fucking beehive. Fucking asshole bird, man. It's a very happy jumping caterpillar. What game did I play recently that had a plunger gun in it? There's something...
There was something besides this?
Yeah, I feel like there was something that I played not too long ago that had some kind of a plunger gun.
Did Void Bastards have a plunger gun?
No, I don't think so. I can't go any further without finding something that lets me climb higher. Is that in this level, or?
No, I think you have to leave and find it somewhere else and then come back.
Oh wow, this is a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Should I go to Transylvania or Mexico?
I think Mexico.
I mean, that's next in line here, but if this is an open world, oh. Oh, shit. So what different versions of DuckTales are there out there?
There, I believe, is only a Game Boy... Well, no. Sorry. There's a Game Boy
Damn it.
and an NES, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the remake.
Right.
And honestly, I think that's it. Oh, actually, there's a PC version that I didn't talk about in the video.
Like a DOS version of the
DOS,
OG?
Yeah,
oh,
DOS,
nice.
Yeah. But I'm fairly certain that it's bad. I know that there's...
I mean, the Mega Man PC game is a classic. So.
Yeah, both of them, Mega Man and Mega Man 3. Nick's Scam Bait Cafe asks, do you like the bosses in this game? I think they're fine. I think, Eric will weigh in once he gets to one of them.
Assuming I get that far.
Yeah.
This seems pretty easy so far.
Oakland Cow says, I owned the DOS version as a kid. I assume of DuckTales as a kid. I could never play any of the levels.
Nice.
That's not a ringing endorsement. There's also apparently a bad DOS version of Chippendale Rescue Rangers that's like pretty terrible. K2 Montgomery says, yo. So yeah, you have a temper meter in this game. You can build up your bad Donald's.
Yeah, I got a bunch of chili peppers that made me really mad.
Yeah. And then you're sort of like temporarily invincible, kind of. You can do like a charge attack.
Oh. That's a trap.
Yeah, this is like a lot of those early, even the not so good ones. A lot of the even like Fantasia still looks pretty good. It doesn't animate as well as this game or Castle of Illusion, but in still photos, Fantasia looks pretty decent. But this game,
oh come on,
still holds up in terms of just like how. Especially compared to, not that Capcom wasn't putting out really good stuff on the NES, but if you compare the way this looks and animates to DuckTales, like, this looks a lot more like an actual Donald Duck cartoon, than what you saw on the NES. And that was sort of Sega really pushing for the highest quality they could kind of get out of their own machines.
Do you know who made this?
I'm trying to remember if it was an internal Sega team.
Just says Sega on the box art. That's all I see.
Yeah, I'm seeing what I can find out. I don't remember if this is one of the... Fantasia was a US team, I know that. Let's see here. Yeah, this just says... Moby Games just says Sega. It doesn't say which team.
So just somebody at Sega made this?
Yeah, I don't know if it was, AM7 or, whatever. Let's see. Maybe a Sega Retro or Sega 16.
Donald, don't you know that you need a special key to go into these ruins? A team of explorers returned to Duckburg with it. It's called the Hero Key. Thank you, sweet senorita. Alright, so now I have to find the thing in Duckburg so I can get the key to go into the pyramid. You gotta go to Transylvania.
Sega Retro hasn't updated their On This Day in a little while. It's on this day, May 13th.
Ooh.
On Sega Retro's front page. Let's see here. Developer, Sega CS. Sega Consumer Research and Development Department was a continuation of Sega R&D 2. So Sega R&D 2, because I think this was, because it says after Sonic the Hedgehog, blah, blah, blah. Which I think this game came out before Sonic the Hedgehog, so... Oh, these are the same people who did King Colossus, another, and Sports Talk Baseball.
Nice.
And had a hand in Streets of Rage 2, a bunch of games we've played for Genesis or Genesisn't. Toki Going Ape Spit, apparently they worked on.
We did that too, didn't we?
Along with Sanritsu. But yeah, this is pre Sonic was 91. This might have also been 91.
I don't know. Wow, this is the famous Dracula's castle. Yeah, the D on the awesome. Castle stands for Dracula.
Hocus pocus. I'm an umpire.
If you don't have something to blow this wall with, you can't go any further. Well, great. Where the fuck am I supposed to go?
I can take a look. Sky Reynolds says early Sega didn't like crediting staff. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Japanese developers at this time weren't crediting their staff very well.
I didn't get anything in any of these places. Let me calling them a wall, did I?
I don't think so. Let me double check here. I'll pull up an FAQ here because, like I said, it's been a while since I've played this game.
This Explorer guy has the hero key, so.
No, he just gives it to you.
Yeah. So now I can take the plane back to Mexico.
There you go, back to Mexico.
Something a little off about the way that world map looks, I think.
Yeah. K2 Montgomery says, I'm surprised the Disney name doesn't appear on the cover. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably just assumed that everybody knows who Donald Duck is. And so they didn't need to spell out, like...
I guess
Disney name doesn't appear on... There's no Disney name on the Castle of Illusion cover either, I don't think.
Ooh, wow, man, that one.
And actually, in 1996 in Europe, and I didn't know this until somewhat recently, Castle of Illusion and this game were put on a split cartridge for the European Genesis in 96, which might have been a pack-in, but I'm not sure, for like, you know, towards the end. I kind of like those split cartridges. Like, I usually buy those when I see them, like, out in the wild. Like, I have the one that was packed in with the NES Sports set, which came with the 4-score or the satellite. I don't remember which, but it came with a split cartridge of Super Spike V-Ball and Nintendo World Cup.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a classic.
Yeah. And I have the... I actually don't have a Mario Duck Hunt. I have a Mario Duck Hunt World Class Track Meet. Combo cart that I got somewhere.
What is this music?
It's those Sega jams, man. Sky Reynolds.
It's like somebody tried to compose a Can song in the Genesis sound chip.
Yeah.
Turtles have short legs.
That's right. Bus Driver sampled the Can song, right? Not the other way around.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that song came out in like 1973.
1970 something. Yeah, that's right. Because Can's been around for, like, they still, maybe not still, but they put out records like into the 90s, I think.
Yeah, they were around for a long time. Although, like most prog bands, some of that stuff's a little rough.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's... Yeah, Sky Reynolds says Donald looks a lot more like Indiana Jones on the cover than he does in the game. And actually, he looks more like Indy on the... That's a European cover. The American cover, which is the thumbnail for this stream, he looks a little less like Indy. But I think they didn't own Indiana Jones at the time. Like, now they could just make him Indiana Jones with a duck. But, you know...
Okay, I see. I see how this works.
Ramune Igasu says Dracula Duck in that Disney Duck game lore. Yeah, Dracula Duck makes an appearance in DuckTales as well. He's the final boss. Well, the final boss, I guess, is technically climbing a rope faster than Flintheart Glomgold can get carried up it by Magica Dispel, turned into a bird. But I mean, really, the last thing you fight is Dracula Duck. Couldn't be Count Duckula because there was already a Count Duckula.
Oh, damn it.
Nick's Scambait Cafe says he loves us and says we produce some great content, so thank you for that. And Sky Reynolds says, do you think Disney will ever adapt Dracula or Frankenstein? I don't know. Disney doesn't do a lot of horror stuff, so I mean, those books are obviously both like long in the public domain, so anybody can make them. But the interesting thing is that as far
maybe
as,
when the Universal MonsterVerse thing is over with, then Disney will take a shot at it.
Excuse me, sir. The Dark Universe.
Oh, the Dark Universe. Yes.
I think it already is over.
Why? What?
Yeah, I can't believe that didn't work out. But the funny thing is that
that video game soundtrack for the Mummy game was really good.
I heard the game was pretty good.
Yeah, the game is also supposed to be good, but I didn't play it.
Mike liked it, I want to say.
I know he liked the soundtrack.
But the savvy thing that Universal did is they copyrighted the Jack Pierce makeup that Boris Karloff wore. So, while anybody is free to make it.
Uh-oh, I think I lost Joe. I'm going to assume that Joe was going to say that anyone is free to make a clone of him whenever they want, which is true. I have, I actually have a giant stockpile of Joe's DNA and a clone army in the works. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask how you got that.
Your hairbrush, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have any hair, dude. I shaved my head.
From at PAX a few years ago when you did have hair.
Okay. No, I was going to say that anybody is free to make a Frankenstein adaptation, but they
Wash,
can't.
Donald. Swell to see ya.
Can't have the flat top and the bolts in the neck and stuff. Universal owns that particular image of Frankenstein.
What could you? If they were rivets or nails, do you think you get away with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. How the hell did Goofy get all the way in here? Like, you know what? I don't know. I don't want to know. Like Launchpad, like in DuckTales, when Launchpad is all over the place, like that makes sense, right? He's this adventurous pilot duck. But Goofy being in here, yeah. So now you can use your plunger to scale walls. You don't have to deal with shooting those green bricks anymore. KT Montgomery says, "I love Count Duckula. Count Duckula was great. The theme song was great. I always liked Count Duckula.
Am I supposed to go back this way? Am I missing something?
I think you're supposed to like go. Yeah, I think you're supposed to explore more with the red plunger, and maybe you're supposed to actually just leave and go back to Duckburg and climb that wall you couldn't climb before.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out here.
LBD Night Train says, "Dang, how much have I missed? 18 minutes by my count." Oakland Cow says, "I forgot, is Quackshot in the Genesis Mini?" There are some Disney games in the Genesis Mini. I don't think this one is one of them.
What's better, this or Maui Mallard, the Donald Duck Super Nintendo game?
I think you mean Donald Duck is Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow.
Cold Shadow? Dark Shadow?
Cold Shadow, yeah. I've never actually played that game. I just recently like heard that it was good. I always kind of assumed it was kind of not good.
I rented that game. We were late for Easter dinner one year because I was playing that game. We're going to the Apple Grove, which burned down a few years later, but I remember liking it back then, and I've played it since and thought it was okay, but that, I don't know. It's way more mechanically complex than this. There's a lot more going on.
Right.
It's like it was like a really late Super Nintendo game also.
Right.
So
yeah. The Disney games on the Genesis Mini are Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion. And that is it. And I actually was kind of surprised. I wasn't surprised that Quackshot didn't make the cut, but I was kind of surprised that Aladdin
Yeah, that would have been a good pick.
Didn't turn up.
Maybe that's a
really
tough license
high-selling
thing at this moment.
Yeah, you'd think they'd want it out there. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't have only if they repurpose the sprite to be a horrible Will Smith CGI genie.
Will Smith,
yeah, we have to do that. The old like Mortal Kombat, Donkey Kong Country style of sprite art. And clip the video and.
Yeah. LBD Night Train says, I've never played, but I got a friend who loves this game and has gushed on about it for the last 3 decades. You must not trust your friend very much if he's gushed about it for 3 decades and you haven't bothered to play it yet.
It's all right so far. Seems pretty simple.
Yeah, it's like
I mean,
fairly
I can't
straightforward.
communicate with the airplane from here. I guess I have to be standing on the flag.
You're standing on the flag.
I was not close enough to it.
That's right. You can put popcorn in your gun and you can kill.
Yeah, it's in the menu screen. I did pick those up.
Yeah. So somebody showed up, but I don't know who it was.
It's me.
It's Mario.
It's Mike. Yeah, Mike. We were just talking about you. Did you
How
like
come you're not playing my game?
Because it wasn't on the Genesis. But I'll tell you,
Didn't
man,
we do like a bad Mario bootleg at some point?
I'm sure there. Wait, did we?
No, it was
Yes,
Rescue
Mario
Rangers.
is on. Yeah, we did the bad Rescue Rangers bootleg. I like that the word "boom" just comes out of that speaker, and it's you. That's. But Mike, did you enjoy the Way Forward Mummy game, or just the soundtrack?
It was adequate.
Okay.
Had a good soundtrack though, right?
It probably was.
Soundtrack.
I mean, even if it was adequate, that probably still makes it the best thing to come out of the Dark Universe.
Are you guys thinking about that for the whole movie game combo thing?
I don't remember why we brought that up.
Somebody in the chat was mentioning Dracula and Frankenstein, and then because we were talking about Dracula Duck, and
the D on the duck stands for
I do
Dracula.
not mean Count Duckula. Count Duckula is not a Disney property.
In your heart, you mean Count Duckula.
Well, yeah, we also talked about Count Duckula, but.
Oh shit, that's a pit. Come on.
So
you don't know there are pits in this level.
Somebody was asking about, if Disney would ever try their hand at Dracula and Frankenstein, and Eric said, after the Dark Universe is done, maybe they'll give it a shot. And I said, I think it's already done. And then we were talking about how the best thing to come out of the Dark Universe was the soundtrack to the Way Forward game, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's a functional Metroidvania game. It doesn't really bring anything interesting to the equation. It's just okay.
I feel like
I figured out you can slide into your jump and do like a long, fast jump, which has improved my opinion of this game a great deal.
Yeah. I think that if I think a Metroidvania in this day and age needs to be more than adequate.
Certainly, with like Hollow Knight has raised the bar quite a lot for modern Metroidvania games.
I mean,
I want to say most of the ones I have played actually are just kind of, adequate to good. It's quite rare that I play one that I think really kind of stands out from the crowd.
Yeah, people liked Time Spinner, I guess. I have not.
I've heard it's okay. It's very Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, and Gris, was that a Metroidvania?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was just kind of a artsy platformer.
Oh,
I've played an awful lot of these games. SteamWorld Dig 2, I think, is one of the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
That was very good that came out recently. But seriously, I feel like I can count on one hand the number of really excellent Metroidvanias that I've ever played.
Hollow Knight and SteamWorld Dig 2 are pretty fucking good.
Yeah. But like before that, I think you have to go all the way back to stuff like, Super Metroid. And I do like Symphony of the Night a lot. I don't think it's actually like the most fun playing game, but I respect it for having so much stuff and crazy secrets and things, and just like such a breadth of stuff to do in that game.
I don't know. I replayed it. I replayed it a couple years
play.
ago, and I still thought it was really fun. I had a ton of fun with it, and I'm still Team Symphony of the Night over Team Metroid, Super Metroid.
I don't love the structure. Like I think last year I replayed the first like 2 hours of Symphony, and I didn't like the way it opened. Like it's super linear for the first long stretch, and there's some somewhat obscure stuff that you have to do to advance, which I didn't super love.
It's kind of easy to get lost, or not lost, but like feel like you're kind of like aimlessly traversing the same areas over and over and over again, looking for the right switch.
They also give you a bunch of dead ends at the beginning of the game that aren't really, like useful. You can't get much out of them. Like you can go down into the.
I mean, Super Metroid also does that.
Yeah, but Symphony's a way longer game.
I don't know. Super Metroid, I think, is a really tightly built game, and I think that's what's so good about it. But I feel, again, I didn't enjoy my first playthrough of Super Metroid that much. It's just every time I played it since then, I've liked it more and more. And now I feel like the world is this intricate Swiss watch that is just beautifully put together, and the mechanics have just a ton of depth in them that you don't really see when you first start playing.
Is that because when you first start playing, you're busy bombing every possible surface? Because that's like 50% of how you find new areas, and
that is every Metroid game ever. So if you don't like that, then you're not gonna love it. But they do give you like a tool to figure that stuff out if you want.
Eventually.
When you get it like maybe third of the way through the game.
Look, Super Metroid's not even one of my top 3 like favorite of those. So, and neither is Symphony of the Night for that fact. It's Hollow Knight and Aria of Sorrow and.
Sorrow's really good.
I played Aria of Sorrow again last year and I found it really boring.
I played it on an emulator just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I thought it was fucking great.
I don't know. I find the movement
really like
dull.
Whatever.
I was a big fan of Dawn of Sorrow, and I'm a little hesitant to go back to that one since I've kind of soured on. I don't know.
I mean, if you don't like those games, kind of all play the same. So if you don't like Symphony that much, then I don't know that you're gonna get much out of any of those games at this point. Like if you're not into the way that one plays
I definitely
now.
prefer games that have movement that I find more fun, and I like Super Metroid's movement is really weird, but it's got a ton of depth to it. And Hollow Knight has great movement, and SteamWorld Dig 2 has great movement once you get some of those cool upgrades.
Yeah.
Like the running speed of characters in the Igavania games is extremely uniform. Like there's no acceleration really. You're just kind of moving the same speed all the time. And I find that kind of makes everything feel a bit more monotonous.
That's where you get the wolf transformation, and then you can
you
run.
have that in Symphony. You don't. That's the one thing Symphony
has. Or play as Richter. Richter can run, I think.
Well, okay.
It's been a long time since I've played as Richter, but
I mean that's kind of like a bonus mode.
Well, right. But
it's cool that it's there.
Yeah.
I'd rather just play as Richter in his game, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's also fair. Sky Reynolds says it's weird that Mexico is in this game, but not the 3 Caballeros. It would have been a great opportunity for Panchito and Jose to show up. Yeah, they don't really. That's not a property they really go back to at Disney as much as you might think. But Nick's Scambait Cafe says Bloodlines is great for the Genesis. K2 Montgomery says I need to play Symphony of the Night.
Just check it out. It's cool. It like Mike was saying, it does kind of start slow, but
I mean, it's packed to the gills with stuff, and
there's lots of stuff.
Neat in that sense, like
that game has a lot of the coolest looking sprites in any video game.
Yeah, and just like pointless secrets that are just neat and cool. And Alucard has a really cool moveset, which I do think puts him kind of above all the other Igavania protagonists. I like Dawn of Sorrow because you can do so much with it with all the different souls you can equip, but Alucard has a whole bunch of stuff available to him all the time, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, Dawn of Sorrow, I replayed a little bit, like a very little bit of it to capture some footage for the 5 Reasons DS video I did last month. And that one, I still liked it, but I didn't do any of the boss fights where you have to draw shit on the screen, and like that was the part that I remembered not liking about that game. But other than that, like
the seals are stupid and bad, but they're not so hard as to really make much of a difference, I find.
I literally couldn't finish the game because I could not do the pentagram thing.
One or whatever,
no, on the Jiminy Cricket guy. Couldn't beat the game. So
that guy is a motherfucker, though.
He's really hard, and then you have to draw that thing, and then after the 3rd time I failed the boss fight because I couldn't draw the thing. I was like, all right, I'm done with this game. Thank you. I really did not like that. It was a bad mechanic. I think it was more poorly implemented. Like, it just should have been a lot more.
There was no reason to make you do that at all. Like, you're playing a platformer
Right.
using the buttons. There's no reason to make you whip out
Or
the
you make it
stylus
easy
halfway
enough
through.
that it's just like a cool thing that you do, and then you just can move on with your life. You don't need to
just
make
a
it
triangle or something.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to revisit all the, well, not all the handheld ones, but all the Game Boy Advance and DS installments. But I just
Yeah,
need to make
I'm
the time to
shook,
do
man.
it.
I was expecting to like playing Ariosora again, and I didn't. So now I'm afraid that I'm gonna not enjoy any of those games if I go back to them.
It's okay. People change. You know, you had your time with Aria and Dawn of Sorrow and all those games. and
I was super happy in the DS era to just play.
now you have
games
Hollow
after
Knight,
Castlevania.
so you don't really need
I
them
do.
anymore.
I'm super happy to play Hollow Knight over and over again.
Yeah.
I remember at the time feeling like Order of Ecclesia got short shrift from a lot of people. Like I really enjoyed that one, and a lot of other people seems like they didn't as much. I think Portrait of Ruin is the weakest of all those.
To me, it felt like more that like people were just kind of worn out on the whole formula when that game came out.
Yeah, Ecclesia is a little different in that it's much harder than all the other ones, and I like that game a lot, except that the bosses all have 3 times more hit points than they need to have. And I get really tired of having to just do the same pattern like 8 times in a row perfectly without making mistakes, or else just chugging healing potions the whole time.
Right.
But I love the style of Ecclesia. I like the moveset. I enjoyed Portrait of Ruin, actually. Everyone said it was not very good, and so when I got to it, my expectations were kind of low, and I had a good time with that. But I saw you posting, Joe, recently about Harmony of Dissonance, and that game is just a slog.
Is it? It still is a slog? Because I remember feeling that way when I first played it.
I haven't
And I
replayed
haven't
it.
gone back to it since then, which that was 16 years ago. What year did that game came out? I played it the year it came out, so...
Was it that long? I played it in the middle of all the DS ones, and I remember thinking this one is like way less fun than all the others.
K2 Montgomery says Castlevania Legends isn't nearly as bad as people say it is. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played that one because it came out after it came out in the space of time where I didn't have something to play Game Boy games on, and I never went back to it because I think they only did 1 print run. It's like super rare now, so I should probably fire it up on an EverDrive at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it. LBD Night Train says Portrait of Ruin was my first Igavania. That's kind of surprising.
Mine was Dawn of Sorrow, which is why I kind of wonder if my memories of that game are a little too rosy.
You see, mine was Symphony of the Night, so
I can see that making a huge impression when it was new.
Oh yeah, but I mean, even playing it, like I play it so infrequently. Like there are people who like play it every year or whatever. Like I play it so infrequently that usually when I revisit it, I've forgotten where all the stuff is. And I still like I last time I played it was with the luck code enabled,
That's a fun way to go.
and I had a lot of fun. I still had a ton of fun with it. So,
I must be missing something here.
LBD Nitrain says, "What's with the gum pickups? It's not Gyro's oxygen gum, is it?" No, it's not the oxygen gum, but it is. Gyro gave Donald.
What's explosive bubble
It's explosive bubble gum
It's
that blows
pronounced
up the
Hero?
walls. Yes, Hero Gear Loose. Yeah, it's explosive bubble gum that Donald puts in his gun. That came from Gyro. Too bad he doesn't have the.
Let's see.
The
If I scroll
Gizmo
off screen
Deck
and
suit.
come back, we'll be back. There it is. There we go. Dastardly
Nitran
ghost.
asks what the temper meter is for. You can build up the temper meter and then you do like a.
Yeah, I don't really know how to do that.
Attack, but the peppers.
Oh, right. I haven't seen many peppers.
Yeah.
Except for the very
Amune
first level.
Yasu says you have to stop behind the walls when the ghost turns around to hide, and then it won't split into smaller ghosts.
Ah, I see.
So I modded my Dreamcast last week. Did a live stream.
Ultimate Dreamcast, I have heard.
The Ultimate Dreamcast. The only thing that will make it more ultimate, there's one last thing that I need to make it truly the ultimate Dreamcast, and that is the Retro Fighters new Dreamcast controller that I kickstarted. Because
A Dreamcast controller that doesn't suck?
Yes, I mean, by all accounts, it certainly appears to be. Their N64 controller didn't suck, so I am putting faith in them that their Dreamcast controller will also not suck, because I played a little bit of Super Street Fighter 2 Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo X, the Grandmaster Challenge for Matching Service this afternoon.
Oh boy.
And man, I remember when I was a kid, I would see ads for those like weird like thumb condoms that people would sell in EGM and like or the Turbo Touch 360 controller of like, you get rid of your gamer's thumb, you'll never. And I was like, I never had that. I don't know what you're talking about. Playing Street Fighter with a Dreamcast standard controller, I was suddenly like, I know what you're talking about.
I think the Dreamcast controller is the only controller from a first-party company that I've ever found painful to use.
It's physically uncomfortable to like use to do that, do quarter circles and stuff, and I can't even consistently pull off a dragon punch with the stock Dreamcast pad. It's miserable. And when I had a Dreamcast back in the day, I had I played so many fighting games with my friends, like we played so much Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff, that I got 2 of the Green Monster joysticks, the official Sega joysticks that were big, heavy. I think they had Sanwa parts in them even. Like they were just these really sturdy joysticks, and those are great, but the standard controller is garbage for playing 2D fighting games, which is terrible because there's a million 2D fighting games on the Dreamcast, and now that I've been loading up my GDMU, it's a lot of stuff that would otherwise cost just a fortune. Like those games are so expensive because like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo X, the Grandmaster Challenge for Matching Service, was mail order only, along with Vampire Chronicle for Matching Service. It was also mail order only and only in Japan.
Looking at my health.
Yeah, man, you need an ice cream cone or something. Shoot 'em ups are a little friendlier. I played through Gigawing as well this afternoon. And,
Gigawing?
That game is actually not that good of a shoot 'em up. And I actually looked at reviews at the time because I was like, I feel like people really liked this game. I was wrong. GameSpot gave it like a 4.5 out of 10, and basically said that it was the truth of the matter, which is that it's way too hard because you have a bullet deflection mechanic.
Okay.
But you have to charge it up, and then it has a cooldown. K2 Montgomery says, got to get up early for work. Good night, all. Enjoy Quackshot. Good night, K2. Thanks for hanging out.
I was going to try and... I think there's a boss at the end of this level, but I don't think I'm going to make it.
I think there is, yeah. But yeah, Gigawing is not...
Gigawang?
Yeah. Also, apparently that guy is like not... That guy came up in a recent forum thread that I was in, and I was like, oh man, I remember that guy.
He's a real Doug TenNapel.
He is apparently a real Doug. I mean, he's not as famous as Doug TenNapel, so... But yeah, apparently somebody mentioned that he... I won't get into it, but...
Sucks.
He sucks, basically, and I'm like, that's a bummer.
That makes me sad.
To love those videos. Those are some of the earliest YouTube like video game videos that I remember thinking were pretty fantastic. But yeah,
play Mars Matrix.
That's right. But Gigawing is not. So yeah, you have a deflect thing for when the big enemies come and like do the full Danmaku bit on the screen, but the problem is it has both a charge up time and a cooldown time. So the time in between when you can use it is just too long and you have to like know when the enemies are coming and when they're going to shoot their big patterns of bullets, because you have to charge it up perfectly, right? It's not like Radiant Silvergun where you have the sword that bounces away, that deflects bullets. It's like you have to charge it. It doesn't come out right away. Like the cooldown doesn't bother me. The charge up is the thing that ruined it for me. So anyway, Ramune Igasu says Retrobit X Sega is making a 6-button face Dreamcast controller with Saturn D-pad and DualShock style analog next year. I got a Retrobit Saturn controller for my Saturn because one of my old ones is a US model, which those are garbage, and even my Japanese one was just starting to get a little long in the tooth, so I got one of the Retrobit ones, and I really like it. It's got a nice long cable. I played through Real About Fatal Fury Special with it, and it just felt great. They're using, I think, basically like the actual molds. So, Yeah, it worked out really well. I really liked it. So if they're making a Dreamcast controller it's like a Saturn controller, I would snap that up for sure. Sky Reynolds says, "What's the first game to come to mind when you hear only in Japan?"
Probably, I mean, like Final Fantasy V or Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yeah, my answer is actually an incorrect answer, which is Einhander, because that only came to PSN in Japan.
Yeah.
So I had to get Japanese credit in order to buy that game.
Bahamut Lagoon.
Yeah.
All those.
I thought Bahamut Lagoon did come out in the US.
No.
Didn't it? Eventually?
Nope.
No.
I don't think so. Unless it was on some collection or something like very recently. I don't think so.
Oh no, I think I was thinking of a different game than. I was thinking some other like B tier Super NES RPG.
For me, it's all the Square games that didn't come out here when I was a teenager, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I probably, and again, it's no longer accurate, but I would say like, probably like Dracula X, like Rondo of Blood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't that into Castlevania stuff at that time. Like I played those games, but.
Yeah. LBD Night Train says Lost Levels, maybe. I actually didn't know about the Super Mario 2 thing until like Mario All Stars came out.
Yeah, but that was in like 1992, so no one did.
No, the first issue of EGM talks about the real quote unquote real Super Mario Brothers 2, and like it was a known thing. Depending on what magazines you were reading. Camarisco says, "Hey fellas," hey Camarisco. Benoit Lemieux says, "Back to the Future 2 on Super NES was Japan only." Nick Scambait Cafe says that's a good game. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's better than any of the Back to the Future games we got here, probably until the Telltale one, which is also just okay. But I also think that Super Back to the Future 2 is just okay. Didn't you play that, Eric, on stream for some reason?
I think we did, didn't we, for this?
Or it was because we were playing. Yeah, because we were playing Back to the Future 3 on Genesis, and then then somebody mentioned it in the chat.
That was the one with the skateboarding, right?
Right, you guys are on he's got a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was okay. That was pretty fun.
On a hoverboard.
That was a pretty good Super Nintendo game.
Oh yeah, and Night Train mentions the Mario Mania Player's Guide also mentioned the quote-unquote real Super Mario Brothers 2. So people kind of knew about it, but I didn't.
We got the better Super Mario Brothers 2, so
we definitely
don't worry
got
about
the
it.
By far.
Yeah, that for sure. I mean, without question, we got the better Super Mario Brothers 2. Also, I mean, I think there's something to be said for games that had changed. Like, I was aware, even as like relatively young, in some cases, of changes that were made. So, like, I knew that, pretty early on that like Castlevania Hardcore or Castlevania Contra Hardcore, was like beatable only in Japan. But yeah, I don't know. I had friends who were more keyed into the import scene.
Hey, there we go.
When we were young.
There you go, Joe.
I'm watching on stream delay now because I don't know what to do. You're getting to a boss, I guess, probably. Yeah, there we go. Dracula Duck. Although Dracula Duck.
The D on the duck stands for Dracula.
That's right.
That's how you remember.
Yep.
Not duck though. Don't make that mistake.
Dracula Duck in.
Oh come on! Well, I made it.
In DuckTales has a top hat.
Do I continue at the boss, or do I have to play through?
Clearly, the more dapper Dracula Duck.
All right. Well, that's it for this. I spent longer than I normally do because we were busy talking about other stuff. But yeah, this game seems all right. It's pretty friendly. Like it's like it feels really, really slow until you realize that you can do that jump slide thing that I was doing. Once you start doing that a lot, then it's like it speeds up quite a bit and it's quite a bit more fun. I don't know if I would tell anybody they had to run out and play this right now, but the way the levels, you kind of jump back and forth between the levels is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's got that sort of vibe, like Strider for the NES also has that.
Also, the way Donald waggles his butt feathers when he's climbing a ladder is real good. So there are some things to recommend this game. I give it a Genesis. Pretty good. I like it. I don't know if I like it better than Maui Mallet or not. I should play some more of that at some point. See if it was worth being late to Easter dinner for that. But
yeah.
anyway.
Somebody in the chat asked about the Going Quackers on the N64, but I never played it. I don't know if any of you guys did. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I'd never played it to know for sure.
It's just another. It's like Tonic Trouble and all those other shit ass fucking
terrible the Disney games of that era.
Well, not even just bad Nintendo 64 platformers, and bad PlayStation platformers for that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't even have a great theme song like Buck Bumble does.
That's unfortunate. I think we're going to be right back with Hardcore Uprising. I think I'm going to play some more of that. So stay tuned. We're going to switch the stream from Eric to me, and we'll be right back. And we'll be back
Nope, we're just going to sit here and jam to the Buck Bumble theme song.
Oh, are we? Is that what we're doing?
Yep, that's what we're doing. I should get Donald on a ladder and make him shake his ass to the Buck Bumble theme.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you should do.
Bye.